Base Case Season 2, Episode 40, Purge. I'm all the time looking for ways to improve my practicing and playing. And I should be. It's never good enough. You know, we must always be on the hunt to be better bass players. And as I get older, I look more at mental states. You know, what can I do to make my practicing and performing better? You know, and not the usual way, not by practicing even more or lifting weights and getting more sleep. I mean, I'm already doing that stuff. But what can I do to make my practicing easier on myself? I want to get up in the morning and walk into my studio at home and practice and make progress. And I've talked about this before, how when I get home from playing or teaching or both, the first thing I do is I unpack my bass and place it in its stand. I get the bow out, loosened of course, but ready, and put it in the quiver. And put the electric bass in its stand plugged into my amp in the studio. That way when I get up in the morning, I can go right to it. Even most of the time I have the piece I'm working on the music stand. I've got my iPad plugged into my speaker. Everything's ready. It's streamlined. It's easier. I've talked to my students about this. If you get up in the morning and your bass, amp, etc. is packed and you have to go through all that to start the day, that's probably going to be a problem. My students agree with this. It's like the mornings when I go running. I'm going to make sure those shoes are out and untied and ready to go, along with everything else. It streamlines the process and helps you get moving. Now that's that. Purging. I've been purging lately. It feels great. It started because the bookcase in my home studio was starting to come apart. I just noticed it. It was a 5-shelf bookcase, taller than me, and it was packed to the gills with music and books and folders. And if it had come apart, it would have been a deal. And I started looking online to replace the bookcase with yet another tall 5-shelfer, and then stopped. Because first, I didn't need a lot of those books and pieces of music. Musicians tend to collect a lot of music and books. Musicians who teach amass even more. We're always getting books. Publishers send out books. You pick them up. I might need to help my student get a book such as an etude book and use it a few times. Music from gigs that I was sent and then played the gig, and then I filed away the music just in case, right? Man, I went through that stuff. Some of that stuff I'd forgotten that I had. I mean, shelves of it. Michael Brecker came to our school with Randy and talked about how that stuff gets in the way of creating. Now, at the time, Brecker was talking about unfinished compositions getting in the way of the creative process. But when he said that to that jazz arranging class, that spoke to me. But all of it, the stuff in that bookcase, I went through it carefully and I condensed it to a much smaller 2-shelf bookcase, sleeker. And I'm looking at this morning and I think there's still some stuff to get rid of. And my home studio felt different. It was almost roomier. I mean, I'd kept comment sheets from juries and improv performances from grad school. I mean, ghosts, that's what Kenny Warner would comment. You know, get out. And I'm in the process of doing the same to my bookcase in my studio on campus, along with some other things. Lots of stuff I don't need. I'm taking on the garage and closets now. It feels good. I feel lighter. If I feel lighter, I play better and work out better. It's a headspace thing. I'm a more balanced emotionally person. That's physical cleanup. Several years ago, I purged a couple regular gigs that I had. They were gigs that had been around for years and just weren't working for me any longer. It wasn't like there was bad people on there. It was just becoming unhealthy. Again, after those gigs were gone, it felt lighter. I felt lighter, and I was able to think about new things I wanted to do. If your studio space, no matter how small, is clogged with non-musical stuff, it will likely inhibit your practicing and playing. You don't need a lot of space to get things done, but what little space you have must be defined as your space. You know, it's out of that book, Free Play, the Tenemos. That's our practice space where we feel in control and free. Purging is in order. Maybe it's something you're working on. You know, maybe it's some piece you're working on. You're not getting any results that you want. Take a hard look at it. Maybe it needs to be replaced temporarily or otherwise. That's purging. Maybe it's non-musical, a situation that's taking time away from practicing. Maybe it's time for it to go away. But that bookcase falling apart has now made me take a hard look at my entire life and evaluating what's working and what might be in the way of things, and not just musical things, physical and otherwise. That app that I used to track my practicing, I replaced it. It wasn't working right anymore. It was costing more. I found something else that works better, streamline the process. It works and it works better for me. I'm currently reevaluating the stuff I'm practicing and how I'm practicing it. Things will be changing for me. It has to happen like that. We have to be constantly evolving as players, teachers, and people. And not moving forward is moving backwards. I got that message when I replaced that bookcase. If you have questions, email me at phil@basecase.co. I'll talk to you soon.